Okay. Are we on? I think we're on. Yeah. How's my stream health here? Okay. I hope our sound is good. But I'm not sure. Something to my event. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Why does it keep capturing? Anyway. Alright. Okay. Yeah. So now I'm starting a new series. What's this TVR thing? Okay. 4 seconds. Okay, let's see if that's gonna help us. Yeah, okay. I think this should be fine. So I've decided to start a new series that is some of my street knowledge, I would call it, things I've seen around, just basically towards rebuilding our community. Niyazi ke la emkhizwaneni ukuthi sizama ukulungisa indaba yomphakathi wethu sabantu. Problem phela leyo ngoba umphakathi wethu uyaqhubeka nje uyafa, siyabuka uyaqhubeka uyafa umphakathi. Now angazi ke noma abantu baye bakunake lokho ukuthi umphakathi wethu is not doing too well, and because umphakathi wethu is not doing too well, we are going to have issues that say, well, we can't move forward. No matter what we try to do, we can't seem to move forward. There's always going to be toxic communities. Yeah. Now it's going to be a bit messy because this I'm trying this what is this software called there? OPS. Yeah, and I think it's not pushing very well. I need to get a Ryzen machine because this Intel thing. Anyway. Yeah. Look at that fan cranking. As I was saying, yeah, we have these toxic communities that we are actively creating. Now, I was having a conversation over the weekend with a lady and talking about striving, is what she said. That she wants to strive to achieve certain things in life. And my question was, I've heard that before. And I always question, Uti, with all the striving that you people have, striving to get a car, striving to get a house, striving to get an education, striving to get wealth, what exactly is the end objective? What exactly is the end objective with your striving? Or is striving the objective of Black lives? This is what we are saying. And you know, you take it to the realm of when we have interrelationships between Black men and Black women. Apparently, Black women are striving to do better and live better lives, but we are not seeing them being heads of healthy homes and married to some people and creating a good, healthy Black family, you know. So then one wonders, exactly what is this people's objective exactly in life? Because I think that's very key, to have a proper objective. You know, okay. It's very key to have an objective as a race. Ukuthi masiphuma sithi siyofunda, siphumele ukuthi siyofundela ukuthi sibuye sizokwakha amakhaya. Because what they don't tell you is that without Black families, you can't have any Black anything. You know, you scream and shout about Black lives mattering when you don't have functional Black homes. It's very strange how that's supposed to happen. You know, in being a little empty. How's the latency on that side? Like, guys, is this thing live? Quite, is it up to speed? Is the video and the audio okay? I need to empty that. Otherwise, I should just give this OPS thing altogether. Ithini latency lapho? Oh, I don't know if there's proper insync, but from my feedback, I say there's a very long latency thing, probably like a second or so. Anyway, as I was saying, we cannot have any Black anything when we are not interested in building Black homes. A Black woman will tell you Uti, she wants to go study and do all these kind of things, gain wealth, gain cars, gain a home. And the last thing on her mind was, well, maybe create a family with somebody and have this imaginary idea that once she has achieved all these things, then she can get a husband, which doesn't happen. The Black boy also has the same issue, where he goes out and struggles to find his place under the sun in terms of the wealth matrix and resources. Ayofunda, ayosebenza, and spend time thinking that he's enjoying his life. He wants to get married when he's done enjoying his life. Now, when that happens, it's usually very late. And again, the cycle continues. All these unfathered children, now. You know. So we are striving. And we're striving very hard to achieve things, but it seems to me the thing that we're actually striving for is to destroy black families inside out. I look at it today and I think, you know what? These are things I should have known when I was younger as well, Then I would have made these errors that I have. I probably would have decided to find a wife early, be married, and create a home, and talk about something that I'm already part of building. So in retrospect, that's the part of the toxicity that we have been actively involved in creating. Sayibulala imphakathi. And sikhohle ukuthi imphakathi kahle kahle ayikhandwa ukuthi ubani banani. Imphakathi ikhandwa imndeni. And we are hell-bent in telling our children to go out there and find work. We never tell our children anymore to go find wives and husbands. No, it's not a good thing. It's backward thinking. Our children should go out and find husbands and make families. Our children should go out and find wives and make families and raise kids. We have people who sit and think having black children should be an option for when you are good and ready, or when you have enough money and all those things. We have people who sit and think that, no, you know what? You don't necessarily need to have children. But everybody else is having children. Everybody else is building families. They are building functional family units. Phambi kwethu sibabuka. And we are sitting here thinking we are progressive, sisihlakaniphe kakhulu and singcono kunabo, by destroying the black family unit inside out. And we are allowing people who are anti-black family to lead the conversation. We know this. It's very toxic and retarded to think when you really consider it. How do you allow antisocial things to become normalized and take that city kwamalungelo? When did we decide as a black race antisocial behavior is a matter of amalungelo, not illness? Is it not psychologically sound to say antisocial behavior needs to be dealt with and treated in any community? Would it not make sense if we said, well, we have these antisocial people and they're affecting our community in this way, let us find help for them? Instead of saying, well, these antisocial people must lead the conversation and must not be marginalized, and they have rights, and everybody else who thinks this is wrong must be shut down. It's very toxic and retarded. This is my view. And I've had many views, and very few times I've been wrong, about this. And it's not even a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of death of our community. Exactly. We are at the bottom of everything. We will talk about that I think in another episode. But in this episode one, let's just talk about how we are actively striving to destroy our communities inside out, one family unit at a time, that we are not building. We are not building families, and we imagine we're going to have black things. Like I was saying, you're not going to have black lives are not going to matter until we have black families. Forget that shit. They're not going to matter. Because who are they supposed to matter to? When there's no black community that has a particular identity of its own. We're not building any community in our own image. How is how are black lives supposed to matter? How is anyone supposed to respect a black life and not take it, when they know very well that you come from a community that is not united by anything? Exactly, Mgwen. Exactly. Very toxic, trashy behavior, that we are normalizing. We make it such that people think that having families and having children and raising them and all those things in a proper, proper structured unit is something of some backwardness. It looks very backward to have family units now. Ubaba no mama in one home is a backward thing. Umfazi othobela indoda yakhe is a backward thing. Indoda eyondla umfazi wayo ney'ngane zayo is a backward thing nowadays. You've become so intelligently retarded and spend time trying to argue away this thing as if you can argue away the natural order of things. I'd like to see who's going to win that argument, by the way, between Abantu and nature. But I have my mind on nature. You can't argue nature away. You can never. So, people sit here think they're so intelligent. They want to argue away the natural things, which were there before they were even conceived. Forget that this planet we are on was created even before we came out of the dust that we came from. But no, I want to think that we can imagine it away, because now the white people have taught us the thing of mental clinical retardation. We're clinically insane, to say the least. And this is me speaking in retrospect, because I realize that I've been part of this toxic behavior that we keep inheriting from our parents. It's very toxic, It's extremely toxic. I say, but by the time you turn 18, you should have an idea who your ideal partner is and who you want to marry and what kind of family you want to have. Yeah, and the last 300 years have been like quite, yeah. But you know what? They're still hanging in there with their mental retardation, thinking they can outthink the nature of things. As born bazogcina phi. So we have this thing of these intelligent blacks who are very retarded in their minds, who think that the issue of black family is up to debate, who think that the issue of structure is up to debate. We have no structures now, and then we wonder why there's so much criminality and all these things that we cry about every day. How are you going to have less crime in our community when there's no structure for the children to follow? Our children wake up in the morning, they have no plan what to do with their lives besides you sending them to school. They have no plan what to do with their lives. They have no extramural activities. They have nothing. They sit out on the street the entire day. Of course, bazodlala ibhola now and then, but they don't really have a thing where they're actually busy with something. They don't learn how to make things with their hands. They don't learn how to fix things. Young men can't even take a screwdriver and change a door lock at his home. At 14 lo muntu odakwazi ukukhipha ilock lapha emnyango I replace. Anyways, think we have anything useful that's going to come out of these kids. Hamburgers in my clubbing lapha. That's the only thing you are letting them do. Clubbing is not an extramural activity. Now we go to the other factor of, it's a thing that you notice with every other race out there, Uguti. By the time they hit 20, Iphelile part. They are no longer drinking heavily. They're no longer going to clubs. Pelile indaba yokugroove. So that by 21, they are making decisions about who are they going to make a family with and what they are wanting to do with that. That's what everybody else is doing. Black people are sitting around 21, 30, 40. They're still out there clapping like fools. They think, no, life is about... No, life is not about having fun. This is why the clubs you go to are owned by Indians and whites. You forget that part. With the club in Wambai, where you spend your money, it's not even by your own people. You're sustaining other people's livelihoods, thinking, life is about fun. Spending your life not thinking about the objective of what you came here to do. A bank, luto about the community. You are just hovering in individualism. You're like criminally insane, to say the least. There's a thing that you are failing to hear a lot. No one is telling black people this thing. You are criminally insane, to say the least. Collectively, because we could do better than this. We really could. To think, Uguti, by the time you are 30, 35, you are no longer a kid. Your childhood ends at 21. It's over. It's over. It's done. No more time to be out there in the parties and drinking and having fun with friends. No. Pelile. Should be getting married by 21 and having a child, settling down, creating something in the form of a family. This is why, because we don't have this vision of striving towards building black families, is why when we need to go to a place where we need to relax and enjoy ourselves, we go to white communities. We don't have safe spaces for us to enjoy our money and relax and have good food. We don't have any shit like that because we're not creating them. We're not creating safe spaces for our kids. When our kids want to go out and have fun that we let them have, they must go to some other community. Go Gateway, go Sandton, go Ban, go Neisner. And then they can have fun there in a safe space amongst our enemies, by the way. Somehow that it escapes our mind. By the way, these people don't even like us. And then we are surprised when they come out saying, black people are monkeys. We are shocked. But we are going to these places that these people own because we can't create our own safe spaces. Yeah, exactly. Like, we can't enjoy ourselves in our own communities. Our own communities are very life-threatening to us. And it should tell us something. We are not making these communities in our own image. And it's a very simple thing. We are failing to strive towards building families. That's what we are doing. We are failing. And we are failing because we are not interested in creating black families. We inculcate in our kids the ideals of grandeur and fancy living, never inculcating into them the ideals of, well, go get your money so that you can raise a family, ephila kahle. Because I was saying to that lady, it was like, no, striving is not a problem, but it's the question of what is your objective ultimately. Because if you're striving for your own individual pros, then you might as well just pack it in and just go live under a bridge. Because it makes no difference to the community or anyone. You have no campus. Just live on the road. There's no need to be striving. Well, you can strive and gain all this and all that, wealth and everything, but you have no home, you have no children, you have no husband. Your wealth is going to just go to a trust fund in some foundation that you don't even know about, or maybe if you do know about it. But the minute you are gone, all that money will be used for other things that have nothing to do with the community. Because it's another thing that we fail to realize, that most foundations that are run by black people seem to be very interested in pillaging money than actually doing things that we need in our community. All the foundations, NPOs that we have in our community, most of them, they're not interested in our community things. They're not helping our children, they're not building schools, they're not man. And then you have to go and beg for money in white people's foundations. But when you go to white people's places, you find their foundations are actually doing the work. And they've done so much work there. Now they have to come to our homes, in our communities, to do the work. I think most of us can even count how many white-owned foundations are busy in our neighborhoods trying to do something. We don't even know what they're doing there, but they're hiring some black people to run around and try and help somebody. We can't even walk around in our spaces late at night. We know this. But somehow we're not taking this issue of creating black families seriously enough. It's like we don't give a damn. It's really bad. It's really bad. And you try to explain this thing away to these educated black folks, and you understand just how deep the mental retardation. Ingathi abantu abanyama baya esikoleni ukufunda umsangano, basically. I think that's how we can reduce it to. We are not teaching people to come back and build the community. We're just teaching people to go and learn how to be retarded, but in an intelligent way. And they have seen nothing wrong with it. It's okay. Then when you jump around in the streets screaming about Black Lives Matter, what this, that. Even the issue of our students not being able to again, I won't say the phrase that I'm sorting that out now, but unfortunately the mic is still on. But yes, as I was saying, you find we even have an issue where our children have to depend on the government's support, to go to the schools that we want them to go to. We want them to go to schools, but asinayo imali. And instead of the problem getting contracted less and less every year, because we've been doing this thing for so long, instead of it getting better, it just keeps getting worse. And it tells you, as a race, we don't have mechanisms in place to even support our kids' education. Lesifuna ukuthi babe nayo kangaka. Sifuna ingane ukuthi ifunde, but there is no plan in place ukuthi how are all these black kids going to go ahead and get this education successfully. Well, let's depend on some white companies. Sifunda ngamabhasari lezi ingane zithola iy'kweletu. And half the time lezi ingane zifunda izinto ezingayifuni. They have no passion for the things they are studying. None whatsoever. But no, we keep forcing them to do just that because, ikati lele ziko, noma izike lele katini, noma ikati lele, I'm not sure, but something like that. That's just how bad it is. And then we expect to have a functional society. We expect our communities to be functional when we are operating on such bare, basic levels. There's no concept of what is the end game here. What is the plan? It's more strange. Like everybody else has a plan. Wake up, they get up in the morning and they go and do some shit that is pro-community. Of course, they want to have money for themselves, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you can see there's an actual community plan here. That's why they're able to create these communities and coexist with one another. So, so we're just wallowing there in this concept of trauma. We have this trauma now team. Our mothers somehow were abused by our fathers. Manje mina nje ngeke ngihlukumezwe indoda. I must be independent ukuze nje ngingadepend endodeni. Because my father was a jackass who didn't understand that he needs to take care of his family. Adla utshwala, imali ingabi khona ekhaya silambe. And then you turn around and look at that here. You resent your mom for depending on your dad. Like, I don't want to be like my mom and depend on any man. Whereas the issue here is not even Uguti, man this, man that. The issue was your mom could not select a proper partner for herself. Because that's another thing. While you are busy striving there, and anywhere where you are educated on how to choose a partner. Instead, your families, your mothers, your fathers, they tell you to stay away from boys until you are done with education. But they don't tell you, once you are done with your education, then how to choose boys or girls. What to look for. And why do you need to look for a boy or a girl? Second, none of that. And you want to tell me you people are not retarded? Come here. Hayi, hamba ufunda hlukana nabafana. Funjikise nami. Waqoma uzohamba la kwami. Angilethe nje amantombazane la kwami. Phuma uhlala kwakho. Okay, hambile wafunda ke. Soqedile. Then by some miracle, oh, okay, you have a boyfriend. Oh. Hayi, bomletha simbone. But there was never anything that tells you, okay, right, this is what you need to look for. This is why you need to get married. Yebo, ushada nini? But man, didn't you tell me to stay away from girls? So far, what? Yeah, what? And then they come to your weddings. That's the thing that irritates me. When they come to the wedding day, at the reception day, they're giving the biggest speeches of their lives. Banyala, things they have never told you all your life. They want to concentrate in 1 hour session. That's the other part as well. They clearly had no concept. But again, these are generational cases that we keep learning. Because we keep letting izinto as abnormal to become normalized in our community. We keep allowing antisocial behavior to become normal. And we work hard every day to write a gazette legislating a abnormality to coexist with us. And then as we go forward, we let abnormalities lead the conversation. And that's the thing, antisocial. When you let antisocial behaving people lead the conversation, they are not going to lead the community towards what we want. Because none of these antisocial behaviors thrive in a condition where you have black families and black communities as units. These antisocial things thrive heavily on individualistic existence. Now, when there's individualism, you can't have community. Forget that. Because when an individual does not see or play a role in part of being a community member and see themselves as part of the greater scheme, then we can't have a community and an identity. Because you walk into a black community every day, uzibuza ukuthi ya la emlazi kahle kahle into yakhona ithini. Abantu basemlazi iplan yabo bahlangene ngani kahle kahle. Yep. Injalo mkwena. There's no instruction that comes from these families of ours. And this is what we need to change. That's why I said, as we are striving, we must pay attention to the fact that we are striving to destroy our communities inside out, because we have no intention of building black families. And if we don't build black families, we can't have black anything. If you don't build black families, you can't have black schools, you can't have Black Lives Mattering, you can't have black clinics, you can't have black professionals, you can't have black anything. And this is why when these kids get ahead and find this levers of progress and ending in the first thing they do is get away from our communities. Bahamba uhlala nama-communities abelungu, ama-communities amandi. This is a retarded behavior, but we have normalized it, and it's okay. We don't question it. How are we okay with people who leave our communities and go and be part of other communities? Of course, nabo banelokhuzana ukuthi well, sizohlala la and now we are better off, bazosiqekezela or basibulala or anything like that. Of course, because nyakwenza funa lokho. Because these families that exist in the black community are not conceived by the ideal of creating family units or creating a cohesive community. What is the black plan? A plan of black people. Because clearly everybody else has a plan. Bayashada, bazalingane, basikhulisa. It keeps going on and on like that. We look at them and say, hey, asibayaphila labantu kahle. Yeah, Sonia. Yeah. So that's a very good question. Yeah, education is not going to happen in schooling. See, that's the other mistake that black parents make, is that they take ukukhulisa ingane bakunikeza uthisha. And you find othisha abaningi are just psychopaths anyway. See, that's the other thing. You send your children to be taught by psychopaths. Nyabas. Othisha abaningi, the only thing they do is sit and drink. Bawuhlala staff room. Bajahane nabafana abancane lapha bafunda esikoleni, bajahane nezingane ezincane bayimithise. It's basically what they do. Angisaphathi-ke le gang incane ke sandukena ku-teaching. They are just there to earn this money. Bathenga amapholo, badle lezi ngane zenini ukuthi abayifundise. Teaching izingane uyikhulisa does not happen esikoleni. Ekhaya la kufaka khona kuqala lento. We need to tell our kids emakhaya ukuthi okay, as in we are black and this is what we want. You come out of this house, you are going to achieve this education for this purpose. Because now we pretend like people are not going to get together and date. This other thing. Now it's up to us to inform ukuthi ingane izothandana nomuntu onjani and for what reason and what's the end goal. Hayi lento yokutshela abafana ukuthi hey uba nentombi it's a thing. Yeah, status. Hayi cha, uyisoka. What? No. You know. Ehluko athinde ufuna amantombazana waloku ubhizi namantombazana la ngithi uyafunda nto bela amantombazana. Of course, ingane zizolibala kujola because we don't have anything planned for them to do after school. We asinazo izinto that say lezi ngane must spend more time busy doing things. Asinazo. You know, there's the advantage sometimes of these kids as esihambisa in these expensive schools. Which there's all these extramural activities ezenziwayo. But manje bese kushaya isikhala la ukuthi mayifika ekhaya black families don't teach kids anything useful. Your education bayishiya lapha kube, you know, because that's another thing. There's education for academia and then there's education for life efanele yenzeke ekhaya. My short education for life, then academia is not going to produce you anyone who's pro-social. So phuma zona lezi zinto ezi-retarded la esiyibona phandle. Omalume nomkhulu beni laba bakhona manje ngeke banisize ngalutho. Angeke basanisiza ngalutho. Labo bayisanganela kudala and amakhanda aqinile. The only thing that can happen, Sonia, is that Tina, as we are parents now, we try to push the agenda in Kanenzetu. We try to push the agenda in Kanenzetu collectively. Ngabe khona abantu who are just going to let kids have the agenda engekho. We need to start pushing agenda to our kids. Zisencane futhi. Lento yokuthi ingane isencane, hayi ingane isencane isayidlalela ayiphele lonto leyo. We need to push. That's the other thing I was saying uthi lento yokuthi so enjoy impilo, maybe we should put it aside. Let's sacrifice our enjoyment for now and let our kids have a thing, a community, a proper sizame kind of community proper. And then our children can carry on where we left off. Maybe 4 generations down the line, then those children can have fun and enjoy their lives. And the generation with especially one in the communities as our qala in our own image. Ngoba lento esenza nje manje ayikho. Ayikho lento esenzayo, ayikho ngempela. Futhi lento esadlula kuyona thina is just a mind. Bathina laba bakhuluma inhlamba, but it's a mind fuck. Qondo yethu was more traumatized than cultivated. That's the experience of a black child. Umqondo wakho is more traumatized than cultivated. We're operating from trauma wherever we are. It's building a trauma. Yeah. It's either you were molested or you were ill-treated or you were abused. Kuningi nje as a black child that you went through, and you are operating in trauma. You're still having a trauma in your mind. You can't think straight. You're trying to cope by buying what is expensive and pretending what you've made it in life. Injalo enti. Yabona nje le gang le from the 70s shone emuva. Kohlwane laba akusibo abantu labo. Akusibo abantu labo. Akusibo abantu. 70 shone emuva. Asekho umuntu laba asamthola umuntu labo. Imvamisa nje, they are very toxic, those people. So yeah, we are striving not to gain these things as it is. We're striving, we gain. What we are doing is striving to destroy black communities inside out. And why do I say this? I say this because when we are striving, there's never an intention to build black families. And you can't have a black community without black families. We are striving to destroy black families. This is what we are doing. No one else is coming from outside from our communities to do this for us. I know we like to blame this race and that race, but Tina, what are we doing actively? Ngoba lezi sizenzayo are showing ukuthi simbelelene nokuthi sibulale imiphakathi yethu. Hambo udlule ezwe lethu kune queue abantu bazodla inyama. Queue end Wednesday to Sunday kaMax kugcwele. Lokhuzeni khona kuthiwa car wash kugcwele. People just drinking themselves to a stupor. That's when you realize that yes, actually black people have money. Ba busy lapha go cruise runnings, ba busy lapha go ban. Zonke lezi ndawo lezi. Okaphelos, ban babhizi badla imali utshwala. All that is black wealth, but ngiyabona ukuthi ibhizi isebenza izinto engabe ezingasizi ngalutho, because no one has an intention of building a black community from inside out. Nobody has the objective in their minds to go out and build family units as ukukhandela community lesifunayo. Uma imndeni yabantu ingekho, asikwazi ukuba nento yabantu noma kuthiwa yini. We can't have anything ethi bantu singenayo imndeni yabantu ephilayo. Akwazi. It cannot happen. And then you can't go around and say you are pro-black if you are against building black families. You can't be pro-black and be against building black families. It just doesn't work like that. Ukusangana nje, it's retardation. You know. Because what black are you when you're saying Uti, you are not interested in growing the next generation? When you're saying that you're not interested in investing your genetic material towards the next generation, what kind of pro-black is that? Make it make sense. Now, this is a series that I'm starting, The Streets, because I have a lot of street knowledge, and people always get shocked when I speak about these street things. Because I've been watching for years. Oh, izinto ngiyaz-analyze as I go along, and I learn from my own mistakes as I go along. Oh, yes, umuntu waba nebhadla nada. I'm not going to keep quiet about that, because I want Uti, even if I tripped over there, the coming children should not have to trip over the same stones. This is why we have this channel. This is me saying Uti, the next generation, and consider all these points that are raised here for the black race. Ukuze sizodrive. We didn't come here to service people and work for other people. That's not our job. Yeah, injalo and uhamba kuze kufike bathi abasabadate abantu abamnyama bona. Uyingane zethu. Hayi, I don't date black people. And shaya ihlombe mase bedate ezinye inhlanga. Shaya ihlombe mase bedate abelungu, date in. Bashade nazo bekhanda mayemakhala manje. We ihlombe. But we're not encouraging ingane zethu to learn how to coexist with one another, how to have relationships with one another, and how to build families with one another. We just tell our kids to strive. Strive to be something. Strive to be something. Strive to be something. You know, we don't even care to tell our kids to figure out their passions in life. Hambi ngani ufunda udokotela iphasa uqede and realize that I hate being a doctor. Bese iyayihenga. And we are surprised. Hayi bu besebenza kahle nje. No, she hates being a doctor. But because the sisu is empty, she has to go and do it. This thing, yambulala ngaphakathi every day. It's too much for her to see people dying. You know. So we are not striving to create black families. It's the last thing in our minds. It's a priority thing. And because it's not top of our priority list, we are destroying the black community. We have this education, we have this money, we have this, we have that, we have all these other things. Engizoti masengi right, then lapezadzi, maybe I'll have a black family. I will get a husband. Oh, I know I'll get a wife. Ngizoshada masengi right, hey. Hayi ngawujaha umshado. Meanwhile, everybody else is getting married at 21. Zonke lezi zinye inhlanga ushaya 21 zishadile. Daba futhi nje yabona ubona ukuthi ke sangene ngempela sebhizi nalento yamalobolo yasanikezwa uDennis Shepstein. Lebe le malobolo le into nayitshelwa uDennis Shepstein la ethi lobolani kanje nebhizi nayo sekuyinto yamaZulu manje indaba yamalobolo into engekho. Business. Hayi ingane zethu azikwazi ukuganana manje leyamalobolo. Neyifuna ukuganana lezi zinto zamalobolo fanele zikhokhe. Yabiza lento. Mina ingane ikhipha 150,000 ukulobola. Le ngane safanele wakho muzi. Bona uthi sisangene kanjani. Hayi. Ake sistrive. Ake sistrive ukuthi emakhaya sifundise abantwana ukuthi yini injongo yemndeni yobantu abamnyama. Ake siphokophelele lokho. Silwele ukuthi imndeni yethu mayakhiwe iphile ukuze imiphakathi yethu iqine. Imiphakathi yethu ibe ilento sifunayo. Hayi ngiyaphuma kule episode. So episode 2 mhlambe ntambama ngisafuna ukuya entabeni ekuseni. Ngibona ntambama ngibuye uthi the mangihlala lapha ngimeditate ngabuya nani. Right. Lalani manje.